All right. All right. We're back. Hey, it is what it is. It's technology and we have to deal with it. But this is Midday with Tara, your transformational life strategy coach. Today we are talking about the fear factor. I just want to give a few announcements before we get started. I'm glad, I didn't do it before we had these technical difficulties. But I want to just share what we have coming on next this weekend. We have our second vision board strategy workshop. It's going to be at the University of Phoenix from 8:30 to 12. So if you guys, and it's not your regular, your usual vision board. Oh, geez. It's not I'm teaching you what vision is, the difference in sight and vision. We have one this Saturday. So if you haven't registered, go ahead and register. And we have our next one will be Saturday, and then we have one Tuesday. That's the 13th and the 16th, both at the University of Phoenix. We have partnered with them, and I'm so grateful. And the one on Tuesday is the daytime event for the people that can't come out on Saturday. It's going to be from 9 to 1. So go to my website, TaraTStallings.com. You can register there, or you can go to Eventbrite. So let's get into it. We're talking about the fear factor. The fear factor. We've been talking about 2018 being intentional. This is a new beginning. Let your new beginning be a great beginning and not a horrible beginning, so that your outcome can be successful and be what you intended it to be. So we want to talk about the fear factor, because we've been talking about these barriers. We've been talking about barriers because, everyone talks about it's a new beginning, but it won't be new if you don't understand there may be some barriers that will prevent you from walking out, living out your new beginning so that it can be great. I shared on a couple of broadcasts before, this may be a great new beginning for someone, but for someone else, it may be a horrible new beginning. So we want to make sure we are intentional in what we're doing. So we need to talk about those barriers that keeps us from going forward and having the new beginning that we want to see, that we want, the success, the love, the greatness that it's in all of us, but we have to be intentional. And I want to talk about that fear factor. Fear, I said it before I had my technical difficulties. Fear, it says, I don't know who came up with the acronym for false evidence appearing real. Fear, false evidence appearing real. And man, when I tell you that, it's so true, because fear keeps us in bondage. Fear keeps us in bondage. And I want to just go through, I don't have time because it's only 30 minutes, because I want to really get into this. And since we had some technical difficulties starting out, I want to talk about fear. We have fear of rejection. That's a biggie, you guys. Nobody wants to be rejected. Nobody wants to feel rejected. So we hold back on our emotions. We hold back on our thoughts. We hold back on our abilities because we fear rejection. We fear rejection. It's the fear of the unknown. Nobody wants to try anything new because I know this craziness, but I don't know what's out there. So I may just I'm comfortable with this dysfunction. So I'm afraid of the unknown. So I don't want to reach for anything else. So we want to talk about this fear. We want to talk fear of the truth. We have this saying now, Facebook, social media, keeping it 100. Nobody really wants to keep it 100 because nobody really wants to tell the truth because of the fear of the reaction that comes behind the truth. Come on now. We say we want the truth, but then when we get the truth, we get offended sometimes, or our feelings get hurt, or we're not ready to accept the truth that we get. So it's a fear of truth. Then there's a fear of change, and there's so many fears, but I just want to go through a few of them. Fear of being honest, and that's truthfulness, keeping it 100. Fear of disappointment. Nobody wants to be disappointed. Nobody wants to be disappointed. Unexpected expectations cause depression and anxiety because we're disappointed. Unexpected expectations cause anxiety and depression because nobody wants to be disappointed. Loneliness. What have we done? Some of us still doing because we fear being alone. We're in relationships with people that we don't like because you fear of being alone. You hang around people that you don't like. You on a job. You're doing things because you go places because you fear of being alone. And I share this all the time. If you roll with 3 people all the time, me, myself, and I, and if you can learn to love those 3 people, you wouldn't have an issue with being alone or low self-esteem or not being liked. Because if you love those 3 people, you roll with me, myself, and I, you know, that's another topic. But fear of abandonment. Fear of abandonment. Nobody wants to, because people have been abandoned in their life, you know, from their caregivers or from their spouses or whatever. And people don't, you know, we don't want to reenact that emotional pain that we went through. We fear being different because we don't want to be ridiculed. We don't want to be ostracized. Come on now. So we don't want to be different. We know that we're different. We know that we're unique, but we don't want to look like anybody. We want to fit in all the time. And I share this. You a square trying to fit into a circle. What's this? Because everybody that you know are circles. And the squares that you know, they by themselves. They seem to be by themselves. Go find you some squares to be with. Because you meant to be a square. I shared about the story of the chicken and the eagle. Know who you are, but that's a fear of rejection, fear of freedom, fear of pain, fear of death. A lot of people are afraid to die, so they can't live. Oh, I said something there. A lot of people are afraid of death, so they are afraid to live. They can't live because they're too bound up with death that they're afraid to go places. You got hypochondriacs, people that's afraid. They're afraid of death. You know, they're afraid to go outside because something may happen to them. Phobias. It's fear. This is fear, you guys. And these are barriers that we have to address. We have to address. What you don't confront, you cannot conquer. I teach this in my self-esteem classes, trainings, workshops. What you are not willing to confront, you cannot conquer it. And that all boils down to fear. Fear becomes a barrier in our life that keeps us so bound up that we never live the life. We never achieve the greatness that we were intended to live and the people we were intended to be. So let's talk about this fear. You know, fear of success. Oh, wow. Yeah. You know, I wrote that down. I wrote some things down because, you know, I have so much information. I have to write a few things down. Fear of success. And I want to talk about that because there's a lot of people that come on that listen to me. And I thank you guys for the ones that's giving me some feedback. That's saying, you know, what I've been sharing is really helping and they're growing from it. And that's my purpose because it was fear that kept me from coming on. Now, let me just be honest, since we're talking about, because naturally I can work from the back. I don't have to be in the front. So it was fear of coming on to the world that kept me, because I knew I was supposed to really be on last year. And I came on a little bit, but I really didn't come on like I needed to, because I really was fearing, like, you know what? How am I going to be received? But let me tell you how I overcame that. I'm not on here for everybody. Let me just say that. I'm not here to be liked by everybody, but I am here for somebody's. And while I'm coming on and I'm sharing and I'm teaching and I'm training and I'm being transparent, it's helping somebody's become the best person that they can be. It's helping them overcome fear. It's helping them overcome some things that they have been bound by in their life. So that's why, so I understand. I'm not talking about anything that, I just went to school for. I'm not doing that. I got a degree in a master's in professional counseling. I know that stuff, but what about, I talk to counselors. I have friends that are counselors, they LPCs, they doctors, but they teach it, but they can't live it. They can go and tell it to somebody else what they need to do, but they can't live it themselves. And the best teacher is yourself. So you can't give somebody something that you don't have. You just giving out a bunch of information and people don't have change in their life. So I want to talk about this fear. And I don't want to get off. So where does it come from? Where does fear come from? Oh, wow, you guys. If we get this, fear comes from our thoughts. It's real simple. We think about it. Fear comes from our thoughts. Because remember now, we said fear is false evidence appearing real. False appearing real. False appearing real. So now we can conjure up some thoughts in our mind, have a whole layout, a whole plot, a whole scheme, a whole play, a whole movie in our head from our thoughts of how something starts from the beginning into the end, but it's false evidence appearing real. It's false. It's your thoughts. Our thoughts control our emotion. Let me tell you something. Have you ever thought about something so hard or thought about your emotions change about it? I know I have, because this is how it works now. I'm just telling you. It's cognitive behavior therapy. I teach this. But see, thoughts control your emotions and it controls your behavior. Have you ever thought about something somebody said to you, you can reenact it so much to where you start crying, you get angry, you get sad, you get depressed? So, because our thoughts impact our emotions directly. So we're talking about fear, and you have thoughts in your head that you already failing. It's not going to work. People going to look at me differently. I may not make any money. I may go broke. What if I get sick? If you already having those thoughts in your head, your emotions follow your thoughts. And the next thing follows your thoughts are your words. You start speaking that thing. Oh, I don't know. I better not try that. I always wanted to. But it may not work in this community. I may not be accepted. They may look at me different. Fear. False evidence appearing real. The first thing we have to do is we got to get over people. Let me tell y'all something. Fear, if you're going to walk out your new beginning, first thing you're going to have to do, change your thoughts and get over what people think about you. Can I get an amen, church? You're going to have to change your thoughts. So, and stop thinking about and stop worrying about concentrating on, meditating on what people think about you. Because I have people that come on here, everybody not giving me thumbs up. I got haters, and it's okay, because I still love my haters. Because it's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. Because you have to make a decision in your mind. And once your words change, so our thoughts change, our emotions and our words, and then our behaviors change. So how do we get rid of fear? We got to change our thoughts. We have to change our thought pattern. How do we change our thought pattern? By what you see, by what you hear. The thought pattern that you have now is a direct result of who you listen to, what you watch on television, what kind of music you listen to, what you read. You know, this impacts our life, because one thing about us, we are human beings and we are made so intricately, I messed that word up, but it's okay. We're made so in tune to change. We can change for the good or we can change for the bad. So we have to be careful the music we listen to. Okay, let me just give you an example. Have you been, and this is what I'm talking about, your thought pattern. You have not heard a song in years. I mean years. And you going about your day, and all of a sudden this song pop up in your head. And you just like, oh, I can't get this song in my head. Hadn't heard it. Because see, once you see something, once you listen to it, it pops up. And depends on whatever it was connected to, those emotions flare up. And then we start talking about it. It can make you happy, sad, sexual, or whatever it is. So we want to talk about this. So we have to be mindful of our thoughts. If we're going to be intentional in 2018 for this new beginning, we have to talk about this barrier of fear. And fear, we said, it start here. Joyce Meyer's book, Battlefield of the Mind, many people read it, and they read it, and they put it down, and they kept on. They still living out the same thing. But many people read it, and it changed their life. Because the battlefield is in our mind, our thoughts. How do we change these thoughts? You got to change your whole schedule. You got to change stop looking. Don't get me wrong. I like Empire, but I don't watch it. I like Scandal, but I don't watch it. I've watched it. But let me tell y'all what this stuff, certain music I had to stop listening to. Certain people I can't be around because they're so negative. If they're not talking what I'm talking, where I'm going, I can't be around them, because this stuff directly impacts how you think. Whether you understand it or not, it does. So we have to be intentional about what we listen to. First of all, you gotta know where you're trying to go. What's your new beginning? Because fear will always come up. It just will. Just because it's always lurking. It's like a lion. It lurks. Oh, let me just what if, a lot of people, I went to the gym this morning, a lot of people trying to lose weight. Well, some people don't want to lose a certain amount of weight because they don't want to I don't want my skin hanging. Come on. Tighten it up. Go get some surgery. Put on some Spanx. You want to look a certain way. You don't want to do stuff because, well, my family said, and I'm just talking, my family said I don't need to lose but a little bit of weight. I remember I lost some weight. I had got down. This has been some years ago. I'm trying to get back there. Hey, Gloria. I had lost some weight. And now, mind you, I think it was after I had my last son. He's 20 now. And I gained a lot of weight. I was almost 300 pounds. And I got down to like a size 16. And I had a family member say, you don't need to lose too much more weight. You're going to start looking bad. Well, I was looking bad at 300 pounds. So I know I look better at 200 than I did at 300. But see, then we start looking at ourselves in the mirror. I remember this day she had gastric bypass surgery. She lost she lost 186 pounds, you guys. And guess what? They was talking about it when she was fat. And when she got down to a size 6, I don't like her looking like that. She looked bad. She looked bad at 300 pounds. That's how she's supposed to look. We always got something negative to say, but if we listen to people, fear will send us into a place and send us down a road that we don't want to be. Now, I don't know how I got on that, but I don't know how I got on the example, but I talked about that. All things are possible if we change our thought pattern. If we change our thought pattern by changing what we watch, what we listen to, who we listen to, and that's a big part of our problem. We listen to the wrong people. You listen to people they deal with fear. Oh, well, what's going to happen? Have you thought that out? And maybe, you know, some people give you some good advice, because whenever you're trying something new, you do need to try to, you know, you need to strategize it. You need to have a plan, have a vision, have a purpose for it. But you don't want to get around somebody that can't see like you see, because a lot of times the people that we hang with, they can't see and can't see and understand what you see, because they deal with fear. I don't know if that's going to happen. We in Augusta, you know, well, people in Augusta not like people in Atlanta now, because I've heard this before. Well, guess what? People are people no matter where you go. Your gift makes room for you. Whatever you think, I'm going to have to take y'all back to my word of God. Whatever a man thinketh, so is he. So if you change your thoughts, you can live the life of greatness. You can be great. You can get your weight down. You can be healthy. You can be happy. It's so many people around here that I see on Facebook, Instagram, and all the other social media outlets. I'm keeping it 100. No, you're not. You're not keeping it 100. Fear, again, keeps you lying, because you don't want to look bad for your peers. So you lie, and you spend all your money on Gucci, on Louis, but you living at home with your mama. You still sleeping in your bed that you grew up in. Your clothes cost more than your car. Fear, because you're trying to keep up with people. You don't want to look bad. You don't want people talking about you. This is fear, you guys. Fear. Change your thoughts. You'll get over a whole lot of stuff that has become a barrier for you to live the life that you want to live, that you desire to live, that's purpose for you. But let me say this. It's not automatic. You got to do something. You have to do something. And so many of us, because of fear, we want change, but we are too afraid to change to get change. We are too afraid. I'll say that again. We are too afraid. The fear factor. We are too afraid of change to change. Fear. False evidence appearing real. Change your thoughts. It changes your emotions. Let me tell you something. Now my time is almost up. I tell you what, this is a quick 30 minutes. Once you change your thoughts, your emotions change. Your motivation change. Your drive changes. Once your motivation change, your words change. Your words change, your behavior